What is up, geeks and geekettes? It's another edition of the Countdown City Geekcast. My name is Ted, aka Steady. Joining me on this Stranger Things Volume 2 slash finale slash what the hell is going on live stream is one and only Colin. What's going on, sir?
Not that much, man. Just tired and so excited for tomorrow. No, I was gonna say no, but yeah, no. I'm vibing. Actually, right before this episode started, I was saying that I had the song "Purple Rain" stuck in my head since last week. So, yeah, I am still living off of the hype. Expectations were kind of met. Some things were different than what I imagined. But yeah, no, I'm really excited to dive into it and then also talk about all of the theories that are going to be happening for tomorrow. So yeah.
We're diving all into the upside down, and we're also going to be talking about really what's taken TikTok by storm. And I understand where a lot of it's coming from, and we're going to talk about a little bit about where it stems from, what arguments are weak, what supporting facts or evidence is actually strong, and get into that, and kind of what we think is going to happen next, because there are some strange things afoot, and that's not a weird pun. Like, people cannot deny that certain things that are occurring and happening are odd. If you've never seen the show before, welcome to the Countdown City Geekcast. We actually just released a slew of tickets to go see the advanced screening of Primate in like 6 or 7 cities. If you want more information on how you can be a part of future promotional events and see some of your favorite films early, you're going to want to make sure and subscribe to our channel. Click that notification button, because when I announce giveaways, they're usually 2, 3, 4 hours in advance, and it's up to you to do the rest of the work and sign in and grab your tickets or grab your passes when you can. All right. Now, the first thing we want to do while we're talking about Stranger Things and season 5 is we actually want to get into a little bit of the finale. Now, stick with us, right? Because we're not going to spend an hour talking about the finale.
No.
I think it was very straightforward. And what I will say is that when you and I did our pre-season 5, actually we did a volume 1 recap stream, right?
We did do volume one. We didn't have enough time between volume two and the finale just
That's
because of
okay.
like it was just holiday week and it was crazy for myself and Ted. Yeah.
That's right. We did all that. We did a volume 1 recap stream, and then we dove into our theories. And I think this is where some folks are getting caught up in the a little bit of the hype, right? And so you and I, we did this a few weeks ago,
Yep.
where we were going down the rabbit hole. We were jumping on every reference, we were jumping on every abnormality and oddity, and we were saying, you know what, the show's got to end this way, the show's got to end that way.
Yeah.
And we watched the finale, and it was pretty straightforward. And I only mean that in the general sense, meaning that there wasn't any oddball left field mechanism or plot point that kind of jumped out of nowhere. They pretty much stayed with the plot they were building upon, the foundation that was there, and then they executed on it. Now, whether or not you feel they did a great job, I think is up for debate. But
Yeah.
they stayed true to the story and the foundation they built upon. There was nothing that jumped out, no side characters that were introduced, no D&D monsters that came out of nowhere. Everything was pretty much what you should have expected, and that's okay. But fans like us, I'm not judging anybody here, we really jumped on every single reference and everything that they were sort of throwing in the background. So that being
Yeah.
said, just really quickly getting into the finale of it, and then we'll get to the rest of what's going on right now. How did you actually feel watching the finale? Were you actually surprised by anything? Were you actually fulfilled by anything? Like, where did you leave on a happy note, a good note? Tell us your initial reactions.
So we had our we had our New Year's Eve party, right? And then no joke, as soon as midnight hit, that's when my wife was like, "All right, everyone out, let's go." And then like we had a couple of people stay because we had some people out of town, and then we all watched it as a group, and that was super cool to like watch with their close friends and watch it, and that experience was fun. But for me overall, it was really interesting because I think in a way that this finale, and we'll get into this later, the storytelling was different than what you were used to. And even though it did have a Lord of the Rings Return of the King epilogue,
Right.
um, I think that there's some things that the Duffer Brothers and people were kind of skeptical about with their answers kind of makes sense for certain things. And again, this is not me and Ted saying it's happening. Get ready tomorrow. Like, get ready for tomorrow. It's gonna be great. But there were some, you know, things about the ending where I was just like, they didn't explain anything about the military. They just did a time jump 18 months later. They then didn't explain what happened to Vicky. Like they didn't explain like just certain things where I was just like, this is a big time jump. And when the Duffer Brothers were asked about it, they were like, you can leave it up to your own interpretation, or it's a mystery. We'll let the audience decide. Like those were like the vague answers they were giving reporters. That's what they told people over at Variety, like comicbook.com and a bunch of these other uh major news sources for us, for nerds like us. So I'm sitting here not even thinking about hey, there's going to be like a ninth episode, until I saw that later, and I was like, I don't think it's going to happen, but also there are some good points. But overall, with the ending, I thought it was good. I think you're right. It was very straightforward. Um, as much as I loved seeing most the pretty much all the characters have a happy ending, I think something that kind of bummed me out was like that I just felt like the stakes weren't high enough. And then
Mm.
also, where the hell were the Demogorgons and the Demobats? Because the Duffer Brothers also didn't answer that question either. When like they were presented all these questions and they kind of dodged them, or like, oh, we'll leave it up to the audience for their imagination to see what they come up with. So I think that's also adding to the conformity gate thing and all that stuff. But for me, I was sitting there, I was like, where are the Demogorgons? I just felt like this was gonna be like an Avengers Endgame type style um event where like something big like that was gonna happen. But then taking up the Mind Flayer and all that stuff, cool. I loved 18 months later we saw the 1989, so Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade reference.
Yeah.
And
Which
then
you love for sure. You're one of the biggest Indiana
oh,
Jones fans around.
yes. I always make a joke when I podcast with friends and stuff I used to do on a Patreon, where like we'd be rewatching Clone Wars, and then just randomly it would be like, that is an Indiana Jones reference, and then I would dive deep, and it got to that part in the screening, and I looked at them and I was like, that's an Indiana Jones reference, and everyone just like glared at me and started laughing. But I really loved Dustin's speech, and I loved how it paid homage um
Eddie.
to Eddie. And he like basically did everything that Eddie wanted to do. Like he looked the principal directly in the eye, told him off, flipped him off. And he um and I don't know this till later, but in the scene, if you look at it, um Dustin has a tattoo of a bunch of a bunch of bats on his arm.
Oh, I didn't
Um
see that. Wow.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, like, it's the small details. So, um, yeah, no, I love that, and I loved how the final scene was, um, you know, a direct kind of callback to the first, real scene where we meet the kids, of where, they, are playing the game of D&D, and um just the emotion on all the actors in their closing scenes, and everything going on with 11. I think it was written well. Of the ending, I think the epilogue was good. I think my thing was everything leading up to the epilogue, where I just felt like this the stakes weren't high enough. Not saying I wanted Steve to die, but because I was someone that I was like, Steven doesn't have to live. But if like Jonathan Byers or something bit the dust, like sacrificing himself in battle, like not like, I don't know. I could see like that being like a noble sacrifice and like all that stuff. And then also, if there is a secret ending and they do the episode, what is that gonna be like? Like, what's gonna happen in there? Are you gonna be happy with the secret ending? Are they gonna kill a bunch of people? Are they? I mean, like, sure, we get more Stranger Things, but uh, us as the audience, you as the audience, you listening right now to this episode of Countdown City Geeks, are you gonna be happy with that ending? Like, yes, you may not be 100% satisfied with the ending you have now, but are you going to be 100% satisfied with the secret ending that may or may not come out tomorrow?
Mm.
Because I don't think you will be. Because if it opens up to like some of the characters you love and know dying, and not everyone has a happy ending, you know, I just don't think the fans are going to be 100% happy. Like, I think everyone has their own. David,
We know
yeah.
one guy that's ready for it tomorrow.
Oh man, he is staying up, man. He is staying up till 7 a.m. He's like, all right, let's do it. No, but yeah, no, it's I don't know, man. I just don't think that a secret ending is gonna satisfy people too,
Well,
because I yeah.
let me get into my thoughts on the finale, and then we can really dive into the secret
Yeah.
ending stuff. I'm gonna start off and preface my thoughts on the finale with this. I saw it in the theater, and I know I wasn't alone. I saw it with there. I think there's like
David.
1,000 or something like that,
Yeah.
or 1,500 showings.
Oh, okay.
Most
I was really whoa,
Mostly sold out. I mean, it made over like $25 million in like 36 hours, I would say.
which is
So I
absolutely
wasn't
insane.
alone in seeing it, and I wanted to see it in a theatrical setting because I knew that was going to be the best possible experience. And so, that being said, that definitely did improve or enhance my experience to begin with. And I think that is good to call out because I had a very positive experience watching the finale. The finale was very straightforward. I am not one to come up with theories and come up with fan fiction, and when it doesn't happen the way I think it's going to, then I sort of negate the episode or the ending or anything like that. I've learned from Game of Thrones, expectations are going to hinder your experience. Not only Game of Thrones, but let's be honest, like the last sequel trilogy of Star Wars.
Yeah.
So, expectations, fan fiction, theories that you spend a lot of time or invest a lot of time on, it's going to hinder your experience if you really go all in on what you
Yeah.
think or what you feel is supposed to happen as opposed to the story that they want to tell. Now, I very much enjoyed the finale for what it was. Don't stop watching if you think you already don't agree with me. I have stuff to say after this, so stick around.
Stick
I had a
around.
I had a very good time. I enjoyed a ton of the performances. I think they did very well with some of the plots that they were trying to set up. Henry in the caves, for example. You and I were going back and forth talking about how important those caves are going to be. It was a good setup. They answered pretty well. It's all from the Broadway show that you and I talked about in our last stream.
Yes, and I think it's something else that kind of hurt the show in a way, because even not because they canceled Netflix already. That would be funny. That would be really funny. So
right?
here's the thing: some people did buy subscriptions specifically for Stranger Things for the finale. So if there ends up being a secret ending, and a big if there ends up being a secret ending, it's gonna be funny because then people are gonna be like, "What?" But that's also gonna make Netflix more money because then people are gonna have to rebuy a subscription just to watch it. But going back to the play, it was really interesting because I did my research about the play and read it. Not everyone has the opportunity to go see the play. It's not streaming anywhere. Like you actually have to like go and see the play or you have to read about it. So I read everything about it and I watched like different breakdown videos of the play. So when that scene happened in the cave in the final episode, I knew what was going on, and I knew where that led to and everything. But my wife and everyone else, like after we were talking, I was talking about stuff in the play, and they're like, "What?" And I was like, "Yeah, yeah, that was a very important scene." And they were kind of relying on people to go and like know about the play or see the play. So I hope eventually they actually do stream the play on Netflix, like because they've done that with Hamilton, where they put that on Disney Plus. Yeah. So
Yeah, over in
um
Disney Plus. Yeah.
yeah. So if they do that with the play, I think that's going to add to it. The Duffer Brothers also talked about how they wanted to do more like where they are doing different spinoffs, and do they did talk about something I believe with Vecna. My guess is that they could easily turn the play into a TV show
Mm,
because the play is actually good. Like it really does explain why Henry does certain things and why Henry is Vecna. Like and why he's so invested into the Mind Flayer, and that's why he ends up siding with the Mind Flayer in the end.
yeah.
Like all of that is explained in the play. So so I kind of knew that going in, but as a normal audience member that hasn't seen the play or read it, didn't know that. So I think that kind of hurt them was showing certain things with Vecna and the backstory and stuff like that. So I think that was one big thing for me was that if I didn't know about the play or anything, I would have been like, wait, like this seems important. There's some backstory there. And I just feel like they should have maybe streamed the play on Netflix in order to get people prepared for what was to happen with Vecna. But yeah,
You never
sorry.
know. They might release that tomorrow. The
That would be
play on
cool. Yeah.
Netflix. There you
Yes.
go.
Yeah. Yeah. For Shadow.
Um, so let's see what else. I dig what they did with the sister. I am a huge, massive fan of twists and turns and all that good stuff. Pulling the rug out from the audience. I'm all about that. So I'm actually looking for it. I'm in search of the
Yeah.
twists. I love them. I am a Hitchcock kid growing up. All I did was watch Alfred Hitchcock movies and the TV show. So like
Yeah.
he was the master of it, and so I'm always looking for that. I knew Callie was going to be the catalyst of the plot twist in the finale, and we're gonna get to other stuff. I promise. I knew Callie was going to be the catalyst or the mechanism for the plot twist. So as soon as did she get shot? Did she not? As soon as that question was raised, I'm like, aha, here we go. Something is afoot. Now I didn't know what they were going to do with her, but the way they used her is, of course, they set up this fake death, and they used her to mask 11, and then they used Callie to create 11's force projection
Yeah.
within the doorway of the upside down when it was collapsing. So all of that's really cool. And I know some people might be like, "Oh, you saw it coming." Sure, you did. Trust me, that one was sort of set up really well. As soon as they started questioning whether or not Callie was shot. The way they edited that scene, it was like, okay, this is where the trickery begins. And I really enjoyed how they executed that part. Like that really worked for me. And then they were trying to say, like, oh, it's open-ended. Is she dead? Is she not dead? I think if you want to question it, that's fine. Most of the evidence leans towards 11 being alive. Because if not, you can't unexplained why she wasn't using her powers and still being able to do everything she did in that final action sequence when the upside down collapses. So I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that. And then the way they reveal that at the very end of the episode with the final D&D game, and the way that Mike explains like everybody's happily ever after, and then
Yeah.
he tells them the story of 11 and how she survives, like that. Chef's kiss. Well done. I appreciate that. I was like, this is good. This is good writing. It's a great way to explain it. I enjoyed all of that stuff. So if I'm giving it like a rate out of 5, I'd say 4 to 4.5 out of 5. That's how much I appreciated the work that went into it. Now, that being said, there are some strange things, and I know that's a terrible pun right now.
I've seen
There
Stranger Things. Yeah.
there are some strange things afoot. Okay, so let's get to some Conformity Gate thoughts. And if you want to also share your thoughts on the finale, we'll go back and read the comments. Have no issues whatsoever. So please throw in your comments. And as we start going down the Conformity Gate rabbit hole, if there's anything that you guys might have spotted yourself, by all means, do not hesitate to drop those thoughts in the comments as well, because this is not everything. I'm only kind of touching on the ones that are spoken about the most and the stuff that I saw, and then we can talk about all that stuff. Trying to figure out where I should start, whether or not I talk about. I'm gonna do it last. I'm telling you right now, Colin, and I want you to tell me. I want you to remind me to not forget to tell you what movie the ending of Stranger Things remind me of.
Well,
Don't no. I'm telling you to remind me to bring it up.
oh, are we talking about like the epilogue?
We
Yeah,
we'll
yeah,
get
yeah,
into
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah,
Remind
yeah.
me.
Okay, okay, okay.
Remind me. Yeah. All right. So right now, let's get into some Conformity Gate stuff. Let's really quickly just kind of give an overview of Conformity Gate. I feel like this all started when fans heard that there was a lot of cut footage from the final season. Somewhere, someone got the idea that there was like as much as 2 hours cut from season 5. And
But that hasn't been confirmed though.
has not, but that was enough to sort of get the ball rolling and sort of
Yeah,
get people started down this trend, to where a petition is out right now, and it has tens of thousands of signatures on release the missing 2 hours. And so I feel like that was the first thing I ever heard, was that people said there's missing footage, and they were pointing to stills from the set and pointing to photos of certain scenes behind the scenes that were like never anywhere to be shot. I also questioned one scene where Nancy was holding a flamethrower that was in a commercial. I'm like, okay, that looks so good. I don't. That looks like it was cut from the show, but it was never. It never came up.
right.
So then fast forward a few days, this Moses started on TikTok, to where people started noticing some abnormalities. It really started with dialogue. Even before the finale aired, you and I, as well, and other folks started saying, wait a minute, everybody is sort of talking like they don't remember things correctly. As an example, Will was actually standing like Vecna. He was holding his hands one over the other,
Yeah,
talking to certain people. And then other characters were starting to remember things incorrectly. As an example, Joyce Byers, in a scene in season 5, she's outside the barn talking to Will, and she says she's
yeah,
really sad about how she let her son down, and she says, "This all started because I wasn't checking on you. You were gone." What kind of a mother, quote unquote, what kind of a mother doesn't check on their 11-year-old son? There's only one problem with that. When Will went missing, he was 12. She was off by a whole year. Off
Yeah,
by a whole year. And this was like middle of season 5. Now, listen, we're just starting on the weirdness. So
yeah.
there's a lot of just stuff that sort of started popping up that sort of looks weird. And so, Will's supposed to be in high school, right? So, like, you can't be that far off because he's only like 15 or 16, probably. No, no, no. I guess he's probably like 17 or 18 by this point, right? He's
Are you
probably
talking
around
about the
17.
Are you talking about by the point he graduates, or by volume 1?
By volume 5, when this scene happens, he's probably only like 16, 17 years old. They probably graduate at 18, turning 19.
Yes, I would
And
agree with that, yeah.
And so to not know when your son's age was when he went missing is like a massive red flag. It's like, okay, that is something that's undeniable. How do you get a memory like that wrong? And that
I
was
know,
choice.
and people put that in theory right now because I don't think anyone wants to, admit that the Duffer Brothers or whoever wrote that scene ended up messing up on the age. I don't think I think that's where people are jumping to, being like, there's no way they would, mess up his age on that. So, uh, from Shelley Ritchie, the play needs to tour or be a Netflix show so more people can have access to it. You can only read minimal information on it. We were just talking about that earlier. Absolutely, I agree with that.
Yeah, she
Um,
posted this a little while ago and we completely agree. And also shout out to the stars that Shelly actually sent to us. So really appreciate that. And give us your other theories that you got, Shelly.
yeah. Um, but yeah, no, I think that potentially, I think it was just a mistake on the writers' floor, and they didn't really think about it until after they filmed it, and they didn't want to, they didn't want to go back and refilm it. But again, it could be a situation where it's like everything is happening for a reason. Everything is happening for a reason. Um, so and but yeah, and that's the funny thing about theories too is just like people you like me right now where I'm just like that could be a mistake, could end up actually being a real hint, and then tomorrow, boom, it happens. So um you never know. But when I first heard about the age thing, I was like, I think that was just a mistake that they didn't catch until it was too late. That's just my opinion. But
It would and I would agree with you if there wasn't like a dozen or more mistakes of people
yes.
misremembering things. We talked about Will, and I believe it was episode 6 or 7, episode 7, when he's having his big scene, Melvald's, they
Oh
went
yeah,
to
coming out, yeah.
get shakes, and guess what? There are no shakes at Melvald's, a general store. And so people were thinking like, "Oh, he's actually still possessed by Henry right now." But I question whether or not anyone is in their right mind because it's not just him misremembering. Joyce is misremembering. There's other events, there's other dialogue where folks are getting very simple stuff wrong, and now you're starting to question, is any of this real? And we're not talking about like the last episode, the last 2 episodes.
Yeah.
I'm seriously questioning, when in season 5 did we actually get the rug pulled out from under us? Because there are we're at least half the season is now. I'm questioning whether or not half the season is real, or whether or not we are in some sort of a dream sequence. Now, let's get into some more Conformity Gate um, actual evidence, because I'm going to share some stuff with you, and I know you've seen a lot of this already. But we're going to get into what people are showing, and I'm going to start off with some of the stuff that is does not have strong evidence. Okay, odd, yes, but not strong evidence. Right now, what we're looking at is a graduation scene. Everybody's familiar with it. We've all seen it. There are multiple things that are being called out about this scene. Number
Y-
one,
Yep, I know it. Yep.
Number one is everyone is questioning why the hell are these students wearing orange? The main colors of the
Oh,
school are green. Nancy has a journal in which she talks about the graduation outfits being green. And I'm going to put this in the sort of weak evidence category because orange is one of the colors of the school. It's just not the primary color. So, is this clear evidence that Conformity Gate is real and that this is all a dream sequence and that, this is clear evidence of it being fake? I'm going to say this is not strong evidence. Going into the weak category. Look even closer. You're going to see the hands of a lot of folks sort
yes.
of one over the other like Vecna. Now, this is stuff that fans are calling out. I'm not saying this. This is what fans are calling out. Again, it's like, what do you want them to do with their hands? Not everybody is standing that way. You can see the guy in the front row, third from the left. He doesn't
Yeah.
have his hands this way. I'm also going to put that in sort of the weak evidence category. Got to be stronger than that. Take a look at the girl with the yellow sign in the back. Fans are saying there's nothing on her sign whatsoever, nothing written on it. I don't know if I can make it slightly bigger. And I would agree with you that, yeah, there doesn't look like there's anything to be there whatsoever, but there are other signs with words on it. You go through that scene and there's other signs with words on it. So, is she just having the wrong side of the sign facing the camera? I feel like that's also in the category of weak evidence. It's not strong evidence that this is
Yeah.
a dream or this is Vecna's mind and he's controlling everyone or one character. So I'm also going to put that in the sort of weak evidence category. Somebody went out and counted all the students in the graduation outfits and counted 12 students with sunglasses on. Coincidence? I'm gonna put that in the weak evidence category. It's odd. It is a coincidence, and we know that um, what's his face doesn't believe in coincidences. Help me out.
Lucas.
Lucas doesn't believe in coincidences, and I agree, Lucas. That is something that we should look out for. But is it evidence that there is a secret episode that has yet to air? I don't feel that way. I'm gonna say that's a plausible thing, but still in sort of the weak category. All of our main characters in the audience, I know it's harder to tell in this shot, but when the show is airing and you're watching this actual sequence occur, when it is focused on all the main characters, there's always a person over their left shoulder with glasses on. I'm gonna say it's plausible that that's an evidence of conformity gate, but not 100%. It's not strong evidence. I'm also gonna put that in sort of the weak category.
There are
Um,
some characters that are like, you know, there are some characters in the graduation that are wearing the same glasses that Henry Creel, wears when like he is Mr. when he's Mr. What's it?
yeah,
I want the Pulp Fiction going. Briefcase prequel. Um, and then yeah, so here's and this is just gonna sound like I'm just going forward every time you say something, and I'm gonna sound like a broken record, but it's do you remember in Game of Thrones when there was the coffee cup that was in the scene and
of
they
course.
released the episode but they didn't catch it, right?
I remember.
So all of these theories and like everything like that, some of them are just gonna end up being mistakes that are just being pointed out, but they're putting it in as theories because all of the writing for the show has been so good. And I'm not saying that the season 5 was bad, but it does feel very different compared to everything. And every ending to every single movie, show, book, anything, you build these expectations up just like you were talking about. And probably 85, 87% of the time, it's not gonna go where you want it. And I remember like me and David and a bunch of other people would talk about what we thought was what was going to happen in Skeleton Crew. Like there were some of us that were so set on like, oh hey, uh we are gonna get the origin story of Maz Kanata with that lightsaber. Like that origin story is gonna happen. It never did.
Never did.
We we like never got Hondo. We like got a ship, but we never got Hondo. So it's just like you build up these expectations. You build up these stories in your head, and sometimes it overhypes you up. So then when you see the ending, things like this happen where it's just like it's not what I wanted. We are getting a ninth episode. This is happening. Can't wait for tomorrow. And it's just like the reality of the situation is that I think there were a lot of expectations that were high for this final episode. And I talked about those in the beginning where I was like, I was expecting some type of Avengers Infinity War type style thing of where, Endgames type style thing, or where they had like something with, Eddie returning. There were so many things about Eddie returning. He ended up not returning like in like, scenes we've seen before, like paying homage to him. And then I was expecting like something with the Demogorgons, Demodogs, and Demobats, like in that big like fight in the abyss, but they never showed up. And so it's just like I think there is a lot of expectations that were that were met, but then there were a decent amount that weren't. So the hope is seeing these different flaws and stuff in the show that makes you think, oh hey, we're getting that. But in reality, I think it's they like missed something in post production, and by the time they released it, it was too late. And I think they even said like a couple of weeks before the actual like world premiere of it, um, they were filming stuff up leading directly up to it, like 2 weeks out. So they were kind of rushing things.
I got
Is
you.
is how it sounds like. So um there are some weird coincidences. I'm with you on that. But I think at the end of the day, I think it was just things that were missed, or by the time that, these episodes aired, people saw it, it was too late to fix it. Um, you know, Another example, if you watch what was it, season 2, episode 4 of The Mandalorian, you have a full out crewman wearing a watch and a green collared shirt that was in the episode that aired. That was up there for a day, and then they ended up taking it down. Like things get missed while filming. Like it just happens. There are mistakes that people end up missing. Like all the way, and I know I keep bringing up like different things in Star Wars, but like for example, episode 4, you have a bunch of stormtroopers coming through a door, and a stormtrooper like actually bangs his head like on the door. George Lucas kept that. Like it's just like these things happen, these mistakes happen, and either they miss it and it's too late, or they're like, oh, this is cool, and we're just gonna keep it in. So take it as you will, but I am with you. There is a lot of coincidences, but my question is to you, Ted, and to the audience: if we end up not getting the secret ending, what is your thought process going to be? Is it going to be like they really messed up on a lot of things, or like like why all of the coincidences? Like, what's your thought process on if it ends up not happening tomorrow?
Okay, mine is sort of I I'm sort of outlining my thoughts in
Yeah.
order, and
Oh, sorry.
so you're
Go ahead.
fine.
Go ahead.
You're
I was
fine.
ranting.
That is a
Yeah.
question. That is a question I'm definitely 1000% going to get to.
Okay.
Right now, though, you're not wrong. Where like all the stuff that we've already talked about that fans are calling out, this is not strong evidence of some sort of secret conspiracy where there's a an episode that hasn't been aired or there's an ending that's yet to be shown.
Yeah.
We've talked about all that. We're now going to get into some stuff that is sort of in that gray area, no pun intended,
Yeah.
uh, where there is some things that are weird, but again, they're not full proof of something is really afoot. Um, the way that Will looks compared to Henry, and this is Will.
Mm,
The flash forward, the 18 months flash forward. People are saying Will looks too much like Henry. People are saying Will's sister, her hairstyle 18 months in the future looks too similar to Henry. They're saying Mrs. Byers' hairstyle looks
yes,
too close to Henry.
I have seen this one now.
I am not saying this is weak evidence. I'm saying this is evidence in the gray area where like some fans might be on to something. But glasses aren't vindicative of that. I would say hairstyles could be close, but is not completely vindicative of that. Only saying that because that wasn't anything they've established prior to season 5. No one ever said, Billy, your hairstyle looks too close to Henry. You must be possessed. Like, that's something that's not been established. So,
Right.
like Colin just said earlier, there's probably not some sort of secret conspiracy based on this evidence right here. But it is unusual, and I'm throwing this in if there's like a Venn diagram, there's the weak evidence, there's the strong evidence, which I haven't gotten to yet, and this is the gray area of like this is very plausible evidence that there might be something else afoot. Okay, there was a scene at the end where they all take their D&D books and put them on a shelf. And they went in a very easy to discern order of how they placed those books on the shelf. What you're
Yeah.
looking at is a set photo that was posted on social media by the official Netflix account or Stranger Things. It's one of the official ones. And the books are not in the order that they were put on the shelf by the cast. I
Mm,
would say this is in that gray area where, okay, why are you showing us these books clearly in a manipulated order where fans can start assuming and conspiring that there's some sort of strange message being outlined and it's already circled there for you. X, a lie. Dimension X, aka the abyss, is
yes.
a lie, or the events that occurred on Dimension X is a lie. Is it weak evidence? No. I'm saying this is in the gray area where this might be something there might be more to this because why else would they do that? Did some assistant, stage hand, they got the order wrong. Like they took the books down and someone said, "Hey, let's put the books back up. Let's take a cool photo with it." Yeah, they could have just done that. And here you go. That's what that is. I would say this is in the gray area. Might not be something, but there could be more to it. Not exactly sure. All right. I got some more.
I'm ready.
Medium stuff here. There's lots of shots of the final scene, the final sequence of the final D&D game, and it's going to be hard to tell, so I'm going to blow it up a little bit. In the background, you see a board game on the left-hand side. It's right next to the second lamp in the back, and on that board game reads the word "What's it?" It's a board game called "What's it?" Why in God's name would you fight this interdimensional being
Yeah.
called in Mr. What's It? And yet there's in multiple shots, not this is only one of them, but there's multiple shots where this board game shows up in the background. Am I saying this confirms Conformity Gate is real? Nay, I am saying there might be more to this. This is sort of in that gray area. And so fans have been pulling this out and calling this out. And so I'm sort of on the fence. Let's put it that way. I'm on the fence. I'm not saying it's weak evidence. I'm saying I'm on the fence with this one. Did you see the board game in the background before?
No, I didn't.
I'm going
So, yeah,
to
that's interesting.
very interesting. Now, I'm going to first remove this and take some time to talk about. And Shelly agrees with me on the order of the binders for D&D. So yes, that is correct. And Shelly also in the comments saying, I think the mishaps are kind of fair with the amount of stuff that needed to be kept up with, but I believe shows have someone in charge of that conformity. Absolutely. We know Star Wars does. They have a whole team that's dedicated to that.
Yep.
Just saying, big franchises, it's a job, and I would love that job. I know Colin would like that job of Star Wars. And with this fan base, it would need to be strict. 1000% Shelly, right on the money. Now, I've provided some evidence of weak arguments that are not completely supportive of Conformity Gate. We've talked about some evidence that's sort of in the gray area that where I'm on the fence with, saying doesn't 100% prove that Conformity Gate is real. And now I want to talk about some things that are just mind blowing or could possibly tell us that not an episode 9 is 100% in existence and will air tomorrow on Netflix, but that there is something definitely up and that fans should anticipate something additional to be published or provided. So,
You
very-
told me to remind you about the ending. I just want to let you know.
yes, we're getting very close to that.
Okay. Okay. Good. Okay.
So, earlier, I debunked some evidence saying that it's not been established. A lot dealing with hairstyles that are similar to Henry's. I'm debunking it on the basis of that's not a rule that the show has established. If it was something that the show had established, sure, I'm all for it. Even the hand gesture is sort of I'm on the fence with. Did Billy do it? Sure. Has everybody else done it when Henry was either haunting them or they were cursed by Vecna, that kind of thing? It's not across the board. So, also on the fence of that. The thing that season 5 did establish, and this is from Holly, is that memories that are inconsistent. Sorry, let me back up. Henry's memories that are being projected, reprojected, that are inconsistent or incorrect will show up as a gray color.
Yeah.
So that's why I said no pun intended earlier. We know this because Holly was able to discern that the merry-go-round had a gray cylinder, and so it was a faux memory or not realistic at all. She breaks the center of that merry-go-round, and they were able to escape that memory that was being reprojected by Henry, right? So that's been established. That is now a rule. No correct reoccurrence of the memory shows up as a gray sort of hue or color to show that it is invalid or incorrect. The very first one that fans caught immediately, you're looking at the dial
Yep.
that was red. The bottom one on the right that is being held by Robin was how it showed up in the very first episode after Will first used Vecna's powers. The dial, the actual pointy tip of the crank is red, and that is established. In the top sequence, you see the dial the next time it comes up, and the dial is not red any longer. It is gray because it is being misremembered by Henry. And so we can assume anything that happens in this episode, potentially not the episode, but this sequence and potentially the episode is now not real, that it is all just being conjured up by Henry himself.
Um, I thought it was proven that these were two different locations, though. I swear
Same.
one was inside and then the other one was outside. So I thought this one was debunked. I swear I read that somewhere.
It could be interesting. It looks like it's on the same sort of pillar. I know we don't see the whole shot, and then there's that gray
Yeah.
box to the right, sort
Yeah.
of similar spot. I'll go
Yeah.
with you on that one. Let's go with that and say this is plausible, not 100%. Let's
Yeah,
talk about something else that we are very familiar with, the Hellfire Club. The Hellfire Club, as the shirt Eddie wore, clearly white, sword, a flame pointed upwards, mace on the
yeah.
other side, black trim around the neck. What happens when we see
Dustin
Dustin
wearing, yeah, the graduation.
in the
How
graduation? The
how different
Hellfire
is it?
shirt is no longer white. The Hellfire shirt is now gray. The sword no longer a flame. The sword pointed downward. It is being misremembered and therefore showing up as a gray misrepresentation of what it used to be.
Hmm. I mean, could have, and again, I sound like the party pooper. But couldn't have it been like they changed it slightly just because, times have changed and maybe they did it in honor of Eddie in a way of, I mean, like I just don't think in this case I don't think that this would be a mistake on the art department or anything like that. I think there was a reason for it. I don't know if it was for for the secret episode for leading everyone in the misinterpretation route. I think maybe they did it like they made it specifically that way in order to change with the times. And same with the haircuts. Like, they're like 1989. We're leading into 90s, right? So it's like people are kind of getting out of the same outfits that they used to wear. And then the hairstyles and stuff like that. Like having short hair was kind of like a thing in the 90s, I think. I mean, I don't know. I'm from 1996, but
It was late 80s, yeah, getting into the 90s, but you're kind of right. You're kind of
yeah.
right. Hair
So
metal was still around.
yeah. But I
Nancy
think
had
the
the hair
longer
metal
hair
going
process,
on.
yeah,
Say again?
I wouldn't say. I think the long hair was definitely a thing in the mid '80s and like early '80s and all that stuff. But I think getting um into the end of the '80s, it was short hair. And yes, um
Raimundo.
yes, I would.
Raimundo Guevara. He's saying, what about the clock sound at the end with
I I
L?
I will say that because of when, like, the screen goes black of when, like, after L quotations dies and the screen goes black and right before, like, you see them, like, hammering and, like, putting a new brick on the library, I think was the building. You actually do hear something that does sound like the clock of the from what we heard in season 4 and then I think in episode 7 of season 5. So I will say there was a heartbeat, but there was also a sound of a clock, and it's very brief. It's for a second, but you do hear that. I will attest with that, um, because I remember hearing that theory, and then I went back and watched it. I was like, I do hear the clock. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I agree with what Raimundo said. I think that it is an example of intentional misdirection, right? They want it to be ambiguous. And so they include those familiar sounds in order for us to go, wait, what? And they, fast forward and they show us it's just somebody that's tapping on a brick. They're trying to rebuild that building there. But it's intentional misdirection. You can perceive it as that, but they're leaving it ambiguous on purpose. There are other things that cannot be ambiguous at all. And Gouch081 says also Steve played basketball, not baseball. Vecna
yeah,
saw him with a baseball bat. Now, this is a
I saw
popular
that too.
one. This
Yeah,
is a very popular one that's been coming up a lot because he is right. Steve ended up being a baseball coach. Someone even brought up like, why are they called the Cubs? I thought they were the Tigers. I'm gonna see that's sort of the evidence, the Cubs and Tigers variants, where you say like, well, this is a youth baseball group. Perhaps Cubs is just what they call the youth team, and when they go off to high school or whatever, well, then they're the Tigers. That kind of makes some sense. Steve being a coach for a baseball team instead of basketball, I agree that one is a big question mark. I'm going to put that in the gray area, not the weak evidence, not the strong evidence. I'm going to put that in the middle because, like, you probably could have done that, but maybe just something happens where you go one way or the other with your career. I have not done, my career has changed multiple times, especially since college
Yeah.
when I got my degree. It kind of happens. So is it strong evidence? No. Weak evidence? No. I'm going to say this is in that middle area, but I completely agree. Huge question mark. Gouch 081 also says, also a ton of breaking the fourth wall. 100%. That happens a ton in this one as well. And so I'm going to go with you on that. Here's the one that I don't know how you explain it. And I've been trying to explain it for a long time for myself. And so we're going to go ahead and pull up the one that I feel shows 100% that there is something else going on that the fans have not figured out yet. The door of the final shot of Stranger Things. The door has the knob on the left side and it opens towards the camera and swings towards the right.
Yeah.
That's the way the door opened and closed in the final episode shot of Stranger Things. You go back to season 1 and you go see how that door opened and shut. The knob is on the opposite side. The door swung
Okay.
in it outward to the left.
Okay.
You can try and say that that is a detail that they should have found out or whatnot. But I'm telling you, trust me, that's like putting the exterior of the Death Star, like where the laser comes out on. That's like putting it on the wrong side. It's the final shot. It is the final shot of the series. You cannot. No one's going to make that mistake. That is an intentional. Here you go, folks. Nothing is what it seems. This door is the wrong way. It is being misremembered because someone here is controlling things. Now, I'm not telling you Vecna's controlling things. I'm not telling you there's another D&D monster because that theory is out there that there's another D&D monster that might be controlling things.
It's the
I'm not
Hydra.
even
Yeah.
saying Callie is alive and Callie is sort of controlling things. Vecna might be controlling Callie. Vecna
Yeah.
might be using Callie's powers and is able to amplify those powers into what we're experiencing. Plausible. But the door being wrong, that I feel is strong evidence that there's something happening, that there's something else that we're meant to see.
Okay. May may I intervene?
Please, that's why you're here.
Okay. Okay. Um. So when you're a kid and you like growing up, everything at one point in your life growing up, Ted, tell me, did things change in your house?
I mean, I'm gonna have to say yes, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So the thing is that everyone says, "Well, things were this way in season 1, and it was this way in season 1." You really don't think that Mr. Wheeler at one point was like, "Hey, we need to change some things up," or maybe the kids were messing around and they damaged the door. Maybe the Demogorgon ended up coming up and damaged the door, and they had to replace the door, and they did it that way. It could also be a set thing that like of they were like, okay, we like need to film the shot. Let's do it. Get to it. This happens. They already filmed it. It's too late. It's on the cutting room floor. They don't have enough time to go back and film it. Like all of these theories, it's so funny because some of these theories about these small things where it's like, it wasn't like this in season 1 or and there's nothing wrong with these theories. It's just my thing is that these all could be different mistakes that they made and they didn't catch it, and it's just that. That's all it could be. but I see where people are coming from because they're not 100% satisfied with the ending. So I get it, I understand it, but if it doesn't happen, I don't want people to be very butthurt because it sounds like expectations are high right now. Like I've been going on the web right now as you and I were talking, and no joke, every other Facebook post and everything is something with like happening tomorrow or adding a new theory of what's going on. Sadie Sink was on Jimmy Fallon I think yesterday, and she made she made a she made a statement saying something on the lines of when because they were talking about her role in the new Spider-Man movie, and they were talking about how um of how it's killing her not to talk about who her character is and like all that stuff. But then apparently she I want my money back, Netflix, unless there's a secret episode. Wow. All right, David. But
He's
she
joking.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But she said something on the lines of that it kills her that she can't talk about the character that she's playing, and she's seen the theories online. And then she said this, and this is something else that is adding to it. She like kind of looked at it at the camera, not like like a wink wink, but like it was just like a okay, interesting. She said there's always truth to theories, and because she said that, people are
Mm.
just like, "Oh, Stranger Things. She was in Stranger Things, and she said that, and tomorrow's the day." Like, and that's just adding to it. So, um, it's just it's just gonna be it's like waking up tomorrow. I just feel like it's gonna be really interesting because on top of that, like what time would they do it? First thing in the morning, 9 at night? Like, I feel like if they don't warn people of when it's actually happening, I feel like their like viewership might be all over the place. Like, I just feel like like there are other super fans out there that will probably be camping in front of their TVs all day, just refreshing the Stranger Things like actual page on Netflix just to see if something pops up. Like I guarantee you, there are some people out there, and that's totally fine. And then there's people that will be going on social media all day. So in a way, this is actually good for Stranger Things because this is getting more people invested into it. So you know, win or lose, like for the Duffer brothers and Netflix and everything, this like theory like everything happening right now is actually making them, of making more money, I think, and having people more invested. So either way, they have a win. Like I'm just saying, but it's just I'm just on that side of like I want to believe. Like I am the kids. I believe. I want it to happen. But the thing is though, it could all be a coincidence, and it's just if it does end up being a secret ending, this is going to be the craziest TV ending twist of all time. This will top the ending to Sopranos. This will top the ending to Lost. Like this will top the ending to every single TV show out there if this ends up being like, they don't announce anything. They just drop it without saying anything to anyone, and it's just like boom, here you go, this is it, and then people slowly find out through social media. That would be one of the most insane things they've ever done.
Shelly's in the
so
chat.
yeah. Yep.
Shelly's in the chat saying, I think people are having a hard time letting go of the series. So, yes, there may be some wishful thinking, but at the same time, the story wasn't concrete clear. So, it's left the door wide open for theories, especially with the not wanting it to be over. And I
Yeah,
like that part. I'm getting to the very end
don't forget the end.
of everything that I've been thinking about since I watched the finale. Um, I am a child of the 80s. Ah, Justin Jennings, did you watch Jimmy Fallon? They pretty much just announced it. No, but I know Jamie Campbell was on it. So what did they say? Jesus, I knew I should have put this a little earlier.
Oh no!
What did they say?
What did
What,
they say? Hang
Justin, tell me. Tell us what happened on Jimmy Fallon because I know Jamie was on it, and so like, yeah, I figured they might have done something.
Oh boy! Oh boy!
I better I
Hang on.
better say what my theory was before they start telling
Yeah,
us
yeah. Go, 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 go,
what
go,
it
go, go.
is. Okay,
Go. I
so
will do
listen,
the research. Go. Hang on.
you do that. I'm a child of the '80s. I grew up in arguably one of the greatest decades for horror movies, and so in the greatest year of all time, 1984, there was a movie out called Nightmare on Elm Street. Nightmare on Elm Street featured a demonic entity that we gave, or they gave the moniker Freddy Krueger, who killed children in their sleep or in like a dream world. Sound familiar? Anyone? Um,
That actor, by the way, Freddy Krueger, was actually in the fourth season of Stranger Things, which is actually pretty
he
cool. And
was
his son
missing an
actually,
eye as well, might I add.
yes, and I
Too
believe
many
his, yeah,
coincidences.
yeah,
So let
it's
me
weird.
let me say this. So, does it sound familiar? Evil entity, demonic, kills children mostly in their sleep. That's pretty much what Vecna is, and that's what Jamie just did a countdown workout dance referencing it. Victor Creel, Shelley says yes. Victor Creel. So Nightmare on Elm Street, 1984. If you have seen it or you haven't seen it, I'm going to go ahead and spoil the ending for you. The very end, there's the good ending, the happy ending. Our final girl survives the monster. She's with her mother. They walk outside their house, and everything is beautiful. The sun is bright and shining. They're happy. There's even a line when they go outside after all the nightmare, no pun intended, is over. And our main character says it's so bright out here, talking about the light is shining and how everything just seems okay after that. The entire time we are watching the last 30 minutes of the finale, I leaned over to my cousin who I was in the theater with, and I whispered to him and I said, "This all feels very Nightmare on Elm Street-ish." And he's like, "What are you talking about?" And I said, "I'll tell you later." So we walk out of the theater and I tell him the end of Nightmare on Elm Street shows our final girl alive, her mother's well, everything is happy go lucky, and then our main character gets into a car, and lo and behold, Freddy Krueger lives. Freddy Krueger actually traps him in a vehicle, drives off with him, and then the mother, who you see there on the left, Freddy Krueger busts in that little window right above the door
Yeah,
and pulls the mom through it, letting the audience know the bad guys lose. All that to tell you folks watching this right now, I was sitting there saying to myself, this all feels too perfect. This all feels too safe. When you actually watch the final 30 minutes again, you're going to notice sky is blue, the sun is shining. Steve even says, "Look at this view." He's talking about how everything looks so pristine and so perfect. Robin says in her very first radio show back after the flash forward, Robin says, "I don't recognize this place anymore. Are you kidding me? Everybody's happy. It's too perfect. It all feels like a false reality." And so what I'm thinking, and I feel like they're doing this on purpose, um, is they're really trying to lean into the fact that this is not the real ending, or this is just the good ending until they give us the plot twist. The plot twist being that the either the villain is still alive, or the villain is actually still controlling everyone, and he's the one projecting all of this stuff. It is almost too perfect. Gouch081 says Jimmy Fallon hasn't aired yet. You know what? I think it might air differently if you're on East Coast or West Coast, but do not quote me
Yes.
on it. So
Yeah,
maybe
yeah, yeah,
someone
yeah. No, there are things of it that have been so because I've been scrolling through it. So it has happened. We'll get the official clips on YouTube here shortly, but people have already posted different things of it online. There is a workout video. Apparently that's the thing that he was talking about.
Justin
But
Jennings, yeah.
right, but so Justin, my question is, what in the workout did he like? How did he reference it? Like
What
how?
specifically is called
Yes,
out that
yeah,
confirms or denies everything?
because I'm not seeing that anywhere online. So just just kind
They
of
could just be making fun of it, is probably what Jimmy's doing. But
they
tell us.
could be doing
Tell
that.
us.
Yeah, yeah. Like, does he do something at the camera where like he says like what was the reference to it? Like, did he say tune in tomorrow? Did he say like, here's the countdown, here's a clock or something, and it says like, like 0107? Like, what was the reference? Because all I'm seeing is pictures of him working out. Wait, hang on. I've got the video of him working out. Okay.
We'd like to
Uh
show, but Jimmy Fallon's probably going to shut down the stream if we do so.
yeah, so open the gate, like like it's showing them like doing the workout. Okay, hang on. Keep like talking, and I'll.
What we're doing right now is Justin Jennings in the chat says that he's already able to watch the Jimmy Fallon episode. I think my episode for Jimmy Fallon's going to start in like 15 minutes, if I'm not mistaken. And so some folks haven't watched it yet. Some folks are watching it already. Jamie Campbell, who plays Vecna, is on the show tonight, and he's the lucky one that gets to either confirm, deny, or play around with the fact that fans are going absolutely
Yeah,
crazy down this conformity gate rabbit hole. While he's doing that, and Justin, I see you put the link in the chat.
I am watching it right now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And we appreciate the link. Depending on how much of it is copyrighted, I probably can't show some stuff. But
Wait,
if possible, then I'll see what we can do. And while he's
okay. I don't.
it's
I just
cool.
watched it. I
It's
mean,
cool.
it's just it's just him working out, but there's no hint to it. So maybe I missed something. What are they talking about, Justin? I'm just curious because
Let,
I just watched the whole thing and I didn't
let us
see it.
know, Justin, what you
Yeah.
think is the big smoking gun.
Yes. Yeah.
All right.
But
And while he's doing that, I'm going to wrap up my thought process with everything I just talked about. There's a
yeah,
lot with what I think are the three potential outcomes regarding Stranger Things and Conformity Gate. All right, here we go. This is the three possibilities. Okay. Option number one, there is no Conformity Gate. The ending is the ending, and nothing else is going to happen. Now, that does not mean the spin off live action series, it does not mean that show, which is probably 2, 3 years, 4 years. It's the Duffer Brothers, so 4 years down the line. That does not mean that show cannot touch on or reference events in the original series. The Duffer Brothers did say it's a new location, all new cast, all new story. But they're not saying that the original series will not be referenced at all or will not maybe come up at all in discussions or whatever else in that show. So, option one, what I'm saying is option one is there's no conformity gate. There's nothing extra. The ending, the finale is the finale, and we're getting nothing else from this cast.
Okay. Wait. Okay. I just watched it with full volume. I
Uh
did miss
oh.
something. Justin, I understand you now. So there is a part where during the dance, like all the routine, he says this. Wait. It's not music. It's just him talking. Tomorrow it begins. That is what he is referencing to. Okay, I'm with you. I see it now. Um,
Good call, Justin.
okay.
Hang on. I like where this is going. I'm gonna finish my thoughts here. And
There's
you're
no
you're
way.
you're gonna you're gonna keep turning the gears, and I'm gonna finish my thoughts here. Option number two on what is possibly happening here. Option two is conformity gate is real. Option two means we're getting a full fledged Stranger Things episode tomorrow. Around what, 8 Eastern is what they've been doing, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. And that episode is going to show either that Henry has been either in charge of Will's thoughts, Mike's thoughts, which is more likely, or that he has somehow conjured up an entire reality in which all of the characters are now trapped in and living in. If that is the case, if that is the case, you have to find someone outside of this group that's going to be their savior. This main group, I'm gonna guess there's like a dozen main characters, right? We have the four friends, we have Nancy and Steve and the parents and Joyce and Hopper and all that. There's like 12 of them around there. Has to be outside of those 12. Maybe it's Holly and her friends that actually are going to be the saviors in that scenario, because it has to be someone we know, right? So option number two is that conformity gate is real. A new episode drops tomorrow, and this has all been a fun ruse by the Duffer Brothers. The other thing that is really important to remember is that the very final shot of the finale, and this is a very blurry image of what it should be, was the Stranger Things player manual with the die that's to the right of the manual, and that die is a 7. If you go back and watch the very, very first episode of Stranger Things, in that episode they were playing a D&D game in which Will fails to kill the Demogorgon, I believe, in that game, and they failed when Will rolled a 7 all the way back in the very first episode of season 1. So, option number 2 means there is conformity gate. It's real. Episode drops tomorrow, 7 days after they failed the first time to vanquish Vecna, as was predicated, or what would you call it, prophesied in the very first episode of the show. Option number three, and this is the final one, and I think this one has the most likelihood of being a thing. I talked about Nightmare on Elm Street, how I'm sitting there watching this finale, and the ending felt like it wasn't real. It felt like these characters didn't know where they were or who they were. It felt like everything was too pristine and too perfect. That was Nightmare on Elm Street, the very end, when you realize Freddy lives and he basically kills everyone after that. Fast forward a bunch of years, like 10 years or so go by. Wes Craven made a documentary called Wes Craven's New Nightmare. The documentary featured Wes Craven himself and cast and crew from the Nightmare on Elm Street movies. In that documentary that Wes Craven made, and this, I believe this is the early 90s, if you will, Wes Craven says now that the stories have ended, the true evil has gotten out. Something along those lines. Freddy Krueger, the character, starts going on a rampage and attacking crew and cast members, and it turns into another Nightmare on Elm Street movie with the misdirection that this was supposed to be a documentary on the franchise. It was fantastic. It was great. What's dropping on January 12th next week? A behind the scenes Stranger Things
Yeah.
documentary. And so they can do what they've already seen happen before and sort of take inspiration from that and come up with this documentary that looks like it's straightforward going through it, but actually flip the script on us. And somewhere during that documentary, those 2 hours or whatever, it actually turns into the final episode of Stranger Things. Now, this is not I'm going to say I borrowed some of this actual theory from some other fans online, but it's actually the one that feels the most compelling. It feels like it has the most likelihood of being right. Conformity Gate sounds really good. Um, but they've already taken so much inspiration from Freddy Krueger and the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. Why not end Stranger Things the way
No.
Wes Craven was trying to end that franchise way back when? Come up with this documentary, actually turns into the final episode of the franchise, and you, I believe, just had a revelation.
Yeah. Okay. I think I'm gonna hop on the guess how long the short is of Jamie dancing. And I'm not even kidding. This is from the official Jimmy Fallon account.
I mean, you're not going to say, you're going to say 12 minutes, 12
No,
seconds?
it is 1 minute and 7 seconds. I'm not even kidding. Look,
Get out of
look,
here.
dude, that is the timestamp right there. It is 1 minute and 7 seconds. That is the full timestamp for the entire video. That's how
Correct.
long it is.
That's crazy. So,
All right,
there you
fuck.
go.
I mean, shoot. Sorry. It's happening. It has to be. There's no way they would do that.
Yeah, there's no way. So there you go. I think those are the three options. Number one, it's done. They're playing with us now. They're
That's
playing with us.
crazy.
Everything that was an abnormality or an error or continuity error was just a mishap or mistake. It was the Game of Thrones coffee cup in the scene, and that's all it was. Number
Yeah.
two, Conformity Gate is real. New episode drops tomorrow. Number three, they will announce or they will finish the story in their behind the scenes documentary, which drops on 112. What are they doing tomorrow? It could be just an announcement. I know 1/7 is the Netflix, not Stranger Things. It is the Netflix announcement of what is coming up for 2026. They're going to do like a sizzle reel or like a big announcement of like upcoming TV shows and movies. And so for sure, that's what is happening tomorrow. It's called What's Next. It's already on the Netflix, I believe, YouTube account. It's just not published yet. It's in unpublished mode or private mode. And so tomorrow they will unlock that video and will announce upcoming shows and projects. And Stranger
Yeah.
Things has been heavily teased in the trailer for tomorrow's announcement. Some something is amiss. I'm leaning towards option 3. We're going to get the fake documentary that turns into Vecna's mind, that turns into the alternate reality
Yeah.
that the main cast needs to break out of. That feels like the most epic way to end Stranger Things, a show that was inspired by the 80s and more importantly, inspired by a demonic entity which kills children in their sleep.
I'm just I'm just blown away by this. Like
Woo!
eh, if it ends up happening tomorrow, that's crazy. If if it happens on the 12th, that's crazy. But I'm just like, they better talk about it. Like they better be like, we've been planning this for a long time. We got you guys. for all those who like doubted us in your face. Like I'm waiting for something like that. Because of just why? What made them think of doing that? What had if this ends up working out and Netflix ends up approving it, like it's just like, oh, okay, interesting. But now I'm about this video just because it's just like that's crazy. He says tomorrow it begins, which I can't even like of well, the only thing I can think of that is a reference to is maybe in the show of like he says something like that at one point, right? Like I felt like he talks about that in season of this past season. I just feel like when he's talking to the kids and he's trying to convince them to turn Holly to like the dark side,
Yeah.
I feel like he says like it begins tomorrow or something like that. I think that's the only thing that it could possibly reference to. But the fact that the actual video length of it is 1 minute and 7 seconds is actually kind of that's more than a coincidence. Like now it's just like there's too much evidence now. And I don't think they would just do it just to do it. And if they did, then they're really, really toying with the fans.
They
But
are having a ball with the
yeah.
fans. I mean, let's bring it up. You really think it takes a whole year, a whole 12 months to film 8 episodes, roughly 10 hours worth of footage. 10
Yeah.
hours worth of footage, a whole 12 months? How long did it take Peter Jackson to film, like, the Hobbit movies?
Well, they of the Hobbit movies or the
I
Lord of
mean,
the
those
Rings
are a lot
movies?
bigger in scale, so it's probably a bad example. But
Lord of the Rings was different, and I actually was talking about this today, and me and David could talk about this for forever. But the difference between those movies was like for Lord of the Rings, Peter Jackson had an entire year to prep for 3 movies. For The Hobbit, he didn't have any time to prep at all, really. Like a very small period because Guillermo del Toro was actually supposed to uh, direct those movies, but then they weren't given the green light in time, so then he left and Peter Jackson took over. Um, but yeah, anyway, sorry, continue. I was nerding out. Go.
no, 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 that's completely fine. I all that to say, rumor now that, Last Crusade screenings tomorrow will be the last episode screening.
Let's go. I'm
Wait a minute.
down. Dun, 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 dun.
Hold on. I saw Raiders of the Lost Ark on the movie, Showtimes. Is The Last Crusade, is it really on the
What?
Showtimes anywhere? He's
Wait,
saying that there's Indiana Jones screenings tomorrow, but it's really gonna be episode 9 showing.
what screenings like of where?
He's saying there's Indiana Jones screenings tomorrow. That's a it's fun. It's a fun idea, but I think that's a stretch. And I only say
That
that
is a stretch because it's owned by Disney.
that's what I was gonna say.
They would have to
Different
be in on it.
different companies, they would have to be in on it. And also, I did like I'm trying to say, I didn't see Last Crusade on the calendar. Let me see. Hold on. Hold on. I don't think it's on the calendar. Or at least it's not on the calendar in my area.
Could you imagine that though? Could you imagine like Indiana Jones fans going in and being like, "All right, let's go, sit down," and the beginning is just a sound of the dawn of like the dawning clock sound from Stranger Things, and it's like, and it begins now, and that would just be honestly insane. I don't think they would be able to do that anyways because they can't mislead people. Well, I mean, like that. I think legally they can't advertise that they're
They
doing.
can't sell tickets.
Yeah,
That's the
they
only
can't.
thing they can't do. I'm
Yeah,
telling you that because I know for a fact stuff has been done similar to that, but the franchise has always been the same. As an
yeah,
example, way back when there was a, Star Trek Wrath of Khan screening in Austin, Texas. Um, it ended up not being played. The Wrath of Khan was actually not played, and Leonard Nimoy walks out to address the crowd, and they actually play J.J. Abrams' first Star Trek film instead. So there was an audience there for Wrath of Khan. Leonard Nimoy walks out, and this is like 3 weeks or a month before the first Star Trek film drops from J.J. Abrams. They actually play that movie, and the fans go absolutely bonkers. I thought I did see Indiana Jones on the schedule, but now as I'm going through my listings in my area, I'm now seeing no Indiana Jones. And so sounds fun, Gouch 081. Um, but yeah, that would be funny if that was a thing. And now I'd be upset that there's no showings in my area because
I
they sold
I
out.
I just think. Wait, did someone just say they just sold out?
No, I'm saying I'm hoping
Oh,
I can't see it because they're sold out.
oh. I don't know, man. I think that's a stretch. I mean, could you imagine them branching over to Disney and then Disney being involved in a way? I think that's a stretch. I think that's a like there were like of them getting a reference to it in there is one thing like of because of in season 1 they had a mention and not just a mention like they actually had Star Wars Easter eggs in there because they had like actual Kenner toys, and then they had like 11 actually levitating the Millennium Falcon action figure holder set, like of she was like levitating that. But having Indiana Jones there, right? Like of having that on the marquee, that's one thing. That's one thing. There was no actual Indiana Jones theme in there. There was no like appearance of the character or anything. But to have it to where people are going to an Indiana Jones screening, right? And they have to actually sell tickets to that because they could do a free showing, but then that would have already been announced of being like they are like that would have been everywhere already of saying, hey, we are doing like screenings of Indiana Jones and it's free. You just got to show up and be there. Like I feel like that would be advertised. Um,
Yeah, and if it was free, you could pull it off. But again, it has to be in agreement with
yeah,
Disney or Lucasfilm, who's owned by Disney,
yes,
and they're not
yeah,
doing that these days, especially with
no,
how
no.
Netflix is taking over the
Like
entertainment world.
I will give you a fine example. So Indiana Jones, is dark and gritty at some points, but is not as dark and gritty um, uh, as Stranger Things. And there was an incident a long time ago when I was at my first movie theater job, right?
Right.
And we were they were showing Blade Runner 2049, and a mom and her son came out of the theater very upset, and someone on the marquee apparently put on the marquee that the movie was rated PG-13 or something like that and not rated R. And there's some interesting things in there. And that didn't go well. It ended up being fine in the end, but I'm just saying like they can't advertise, they can't false advertise something like that. I don't think legally they can do that. So I'm just debunking that now. I would be shocked. I would be shocked if that ended up happening, but yeah.
This is fun.
Yeah.
I gotta
Jeez.
say, this is fun. It's amazing.
That video from Jimmy Fallon, though, I mean, at this point, like they're really messing with the fans. If this ends up being nothing, it's just like I just feel like it's just like the haha, gotcha, and I think that's kind of cruel in a way. But the fact that that video dropped of that final line in the thing of where he says it begins tomorrow, and then the fact that the time, yes, exactly, and the fact that the length of the clip is 1 minute and 7 seconds, they're just messing with us at that point if it ends up being nothing.
Yeah.
So I think something is going to happen tomorrow. We just don't know what. But that's crazy. That's crazy that they ended up dropping that clip. Like of having like appearances and like kind of weird things that people pointed out is one thing, but that right there the fact that he said that it begins tomorrow, and then the clip is 1 minute and 7 seconds is just feeding into all the theories right now. Like everything you just said, that one video is feeding into everything you just said. So you are focused. You are reading something. What is it?
No, somebody, not in the chat. I think somebody said online that there's a new
Yeah.
template for a new episode. It's not there. I'm on Netflix right now. It's oh, I get it. Okay. Oh, let's see.
No way.
The last time you opened Netflix and you saw the Stranger Things thumbnail,
Yeah.
did it say new episode? It's not supposed to.
I don't remember that.
Pull it up on, is it on your phone?
Uh,
Anybody in the chat, I need somebody to confirm this. Open up Netflix. I'm looking at the thumbnail for Stranger Things and it says new episode. I've seen every episode. It's not supposed to show
can
that.
you show it on your screen? Like, can you like put the camera towards the screen here? New episode?
It's not supposed to show that if you've seen every episode. I've
Well,
seen the finale
okay,
3
well, click
times.
it. Click it.
No. I'm telling you, there's nothing new, but it
Oh,
says new.
oh, I don't know, man. I don't
Shelly
know.
agrees. Shelly's on her app. It says new episode. It's not supposed to. Shelly, did you see that earlier? Can anyone remember? Ooh, look, now we're misremembering stuff. Can anyone remember it not showing that? Because I feel like I've watched that episode 3 times today and I did not see new episode on the thumbnail. It's gonna drive me crazy. It's gonna drive me
uh,
crazy. It's exactly what they want to do. Well, this has been a
this
wild
is
ride.
this has been a journey, my friends.
It's been a wild ride. We've gone through the most compelling conformity gate evidence out there. Not all of it. There's probably a lot more. All I'm saying is we went through the most compelling of it all. And
Nothing like this has ever happened, right?
I mean I brought up Wes Craven's new Nightmare, which looked like a documentary and ended up being a completely new movie. But has anything like this happened where we end a show that had a planned retcon? No, I don't think so. Shows have been revived. Family Guy's been revived. Dexter's been revived. Twin Peaks has been revived. Nothing has had a plan retcon that I can think of. David Lynch probably had Twin Peaks revival in mind and decided to bring it back and all that stuff. 28 years later, but all of those things are like, they're not the same as this. This is the first of its kind. Shelley says, I've watched all the episodes too. What are they doing putting new episode on our app? It's not supposed to be there. It's not supposed to be there. All right. That's been the most compelling evidence so far. And now we shall wait. We shall wait and see what happens tomorrow. Either a new episode is coming or we will have to wait for the documentary and we will see what the documentary is, what's going to happen on the documentary. It's as straightforward. Is it the secret final episode? Only time will tell.
My question is, listen.
Oh,
Just no. I'm just trying to wrap my head around this. If it ends up being a secret ending, what is it gonna be? What is it like of at that point? So, Ted, what do you
I'll tell
think
you.
it?
Can I tell you?
Yes, please, please. I'm so
You're going to
curious.
love it. You're going to love it.
Okay.
Time travel. You figured it out, Colin. The episode is chaos, it's death, fire and brimstone, and we need to go back in time, baby. Find
But
the
how?
DeLorean, 88 miles an hour. We're going to save everybody. We're going to save the world. That's what you're talking about. That's endgame level stuff. You said endgame. You
Right.
thought it was going to be endgame. What is endgame? Endgame is the bad guy wins. We got to go back in time to try and salvage something.
I can't believe I'm like believing this stuff. I'm telling you, it's not gonna happen. It's
It
just
was your
not.
theory. It was your
It's
theory.
I'm telling you, dude, there's no way. There's no way that we're gonna wake up tomorrow and there's gonna be any sign. Like, I will be shocked. I will be completely shocked. And if that ends up being the case, the Duffer Brothers have pulled off one of the craziest TV stunts in history. Like, I'm not even kidding. This will top anything, any ending anyone's ever done.
And
Like, of keeping it like of this secret for a week. No joke. People have been coming up with theories for a week. It's been a week since the finale. That's absolutely insane. Like, of just doing it like a thing later, and then it just ends up being nothing, and like nothing at all, and it's just a prank or whatever, and they don't even acknowledge it. That is going to be a slap in the face. Like, I just feel like of them doing this, and then that video they posted on Jimmy Fallon is what's getting me right now, because the fact that the time, like, of the timestamp, like the length of the video is 1 minute and 7 seconds, and then the fact he says, tomorrow it begins, like, that has nothing to do with the show at this point, because the events of the show have already happened. That would be different if, like, he was saying, um that there was, something. I mean, if, like, he was saying that on the day before the last episode came out, like, of where he would say tomorrow it begins. If that video posted before that, that would make sense. But the fact that they posted it the day before the whole theory thing that everyone is on right now, I just think is wild.
it is wild.
That
It's
is why it's getting me right now, because I'm like, that's just a weird thing to do.
let's get outside the show right now. Why are the cast members still doing promotional work? Why last night did WWE, the largest wrestling association in the world, have an entire night dedicated to Stranger Things
It's so
almost a week
weird.
almost a week after the finale aired? We don't need to promote a show that's already ended unless that show has not ended. Raimundo Guevara says, "How did Mike feel Vecna was there?" Which scene do you think he's talking about?
How did Mike feel Vecna was there? Are you talking about at the graduation of where, like, he, like, hears the speaker sounds and then he goes back to, like, that day?
Because I wasn't
Like,
wasn't feeling Vecna was there. He was putting two and two together with the suppressor devices, the
right.
power suppressor devices. Unless Raimundo, you're talking about a different episode or a different scene. Clarify for us
So,
which one you're talking about.
right. So, my other thing too is, if this is all an illusion, right? This is a fake, like, ending.
Christmas.
Christmas.
That's season one, isn't it? The end of
Yeah.
season one.
Season 2 as well, I think, because there's the dance, because it was like the winter dance. But my thing is, if this is a secret ending, right?
Right.
How is Vecna doing this with everyone? Or is this all just in Mike's head, right?
It could be.
He Like, he is doing to Mike of what he did to everyone else. And
Yes.
then 11 is trying to, like, and maybe all the other people are dead or something like that. Again, this is just me now spiraling because of this one video that Jimmy Fallon did. That's crazy to me. But anyways, um, like, I'm just trying to wrap my head around, like, what are they gonna do and how are they gonna end it? Because at this point, it could be
I told
like
you.
why?
I told you. The reason why is because you knew how this was going to go. You knew how this is going to go. When episode 7 dropped, 8 dropped, 9 dropped, what do you have? You have the initial knee jerk reaction of not as good, right? How do you
they
how do
played it
you
safe, yeah.
counter that? You counter that with a false ending. This is not what happened. What you did not like did not occur. This is just a game.
Wait,
You
hold
are
on.
manipulating the audience by actually giving us something that we wanted, but we didn't know we wanted, as opposed to what we expected and didn't get.
Could they
That belongs
potentially?
on a shirt.
Could they potentially repost the same episode, right? Like, like they re
Oh, there's
right
no 9. It's re-uploaded 8. That's great.
a re-uploaded 8, and then like people are confused, but then they watch it and then they get to a certain point in it, and then the ending is different. Like of like certain events are different in it because of if you watch, oh man,
That
which
would be the most diabolical thing ever.
I could see them re-uploading it and just changing things in it, and of the ending is different in a way, or or they have added something where it's
I'm on,
slightly longer.
I'm
I could see
watching
them,
8
yeah,
right now, and I'm gonna make sure that there's nothing different in it.
yeah.
Could you imagine? Raimundo Guevara says right before Will takes over, he's talking about episode 4 when Vecna first appears in season 5. So Will, and forgive me because I don't remember exactly, but Will says he knows Vecna's near. How does he have that ability to know that Vecna's near unless Vecna has tapped into him and Will can now sense part of the hive mind? And that is a fantastic question. And that's why Will might be the cursed one. Is it? No, Mike. Sorry, he said Mike. Mike might be the current individual who's being cursed by Vecna.
Well, I mean, yeah, but then why Mike though? Like,
Why
why did
Mike?
he choose Mike? Yeah, why? Why him? Oh, my lights died. There we go.
Because he's already gotten to Will. He's already gotten to Max. He's gotten to Lucas through Max. He's gotten through to Dustin. He's gotten to Dustin through Eddie. He's already gotten to Nancy. Will, sorry, Mike is the only one left. Mike is arguably the leader of the group.
Yeah. Ugh, I have to move around now because I'm in the upside down, guys. Vecna, turn off my lights. Hang on.
Oh, scared me.
There
I'm
we go.
like,
Oh.
why is this episode 8 not the same one that I remember? It's because it's the wrong season.
Oh.
I almost ruined everything for everybody by getting everyone excited. All right, I'm gonna go check out. I'm gonna rewatch episode 8 every hour until there's something new that's uploaded.
Okay,
uh,
so you have
Gouch
nothing going on tomorrow. Yeah.
Gouch081 says someone from the production is teasing that something was shot without breaking their NDA. Not only that, but the actor who plays Lucas, forgive me, I'm old and forgot his name. In an interview, he actually said his finale was different. Jokingly
Mm,
said his finale was different, and then the others around him joked around. Oh, episode 9, you know about episode 9, yada yada yada. That's in a video interview where the actor who plays Lucas says my finale was different, and the other main characters around him joke that there's an episode 9. That was the first time I had heard about it.
mm.
Mike is a storyteller, can help Vecna make a story more believable. Maybe I dig it. It's plausible. I subscribe to that. I stand. Well done. So yeah, uh, why do it this way? Because it's never been done before. Why do it this way? Because not everyone was going to be satisfied with the first ending. How do you satisfy everybody? You give them multiple endings. How dope is that? You give them
But
multiple endings.
but they did that with the epilogue. They like gave multiple endings. They
No,
like
no,
showed
no.
the
That's
characters
one
multiple.
ending. That's just the happy ending. do you remember, you're 10, 12 years younger than I am, but
Yeah.
growing up, my favorite books to read, and I did not read a lot, I'm afraid, comic books mostly, but my favorite books were called the Choose Your Own Adventure books. The Choose Your Own Adventure books were massive in the 90s. You grew up reading a story, and it would tell you to make a choice. Do you want to go this way? Or do you want to go that way? And
Hmm.
based on your choice, the story changed. Now, the book, the story could end quickly if you choose the wrong way. You might die, you might live happily ever after. But if you didn't like the way your story ended, like I would do sometimes, I would go back and choose a different option. And they would tell you to go to a different page and your story would change. Stranger Things potentially is doing a live action choose your own adventure, which actually I think Black Mirror did an episode of this on Netflix
Yes.
where they
And it
were
had
allowing you
Will
to
Poulter in
choose.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Shelly says, love those books. Shelly knows what I'm talking about. So yeah, this feels like a choose your own adventure type scenario where we're going through this and hey, I don't like that ending. Let's go ahead and choose this different route. And it ends up being different. It's fun.
I,
It's
I,
fun, and we will
no, I
find out what happens
I
tomorrow.
agree, man. It's just like it's just why? Like
Because 80s kids get it. 80s kids get it. 80s kids get it. Freddy Krueger always won. You got to understand something. Freddy always won.
they can't have Vecna win. They can't like of even the Duffer Brothers. I mean, it does make sense because they kept saying like, "Oh, well, we didn't answer this or answer this or answer this because we are leaving it to the audience in interpretation, like and using their own imagination." Like, I get that, I understand where they're coming from, but also having a good ending and then like an evil ending, and then you're like, you can pick the ending of what you want to believe actually happened from like a series like this is crazy. Like, could you imagine if they did that in Star Wars, which they kind of did in the Episode 3 Revenge of the Sith game when that came out? Because in that game, if you play it, which ironically, which is crazy, and this is 100% true, the the Revenge of the Sith game came out before the movie, so you knew everything about the movie happening from that game. Even though, and they did add some like weird deleted scenes in there and stuff like that, but like the ending happened. The ending happened, right? But then you had an alternate ending where you would play as Anakin instead of Obi Wan fighting Anakin, and then Anakin kills Obi Wan. He kills the Emperor, and he ends the scene where like, no, the galaxy belongs to me. um and they like that was something that they put in the game, and they were like, you like choose your ending of what you want to do. This is the alternate ending, or you can go with the canon ending. So it's just like, yeah. So but them doing this is just, it's just gonna be really weird if nothing ends up happening tomorrow. Like, if just nothing happens tomorrow, that's going to be a huge slap in the face, in my opinion, because they're just hinting at stuff happening on the 7th, and there's just all these weird signs. And then, if they wait until the 12th, I don't think there's like a big significance besides the documentary. Do we know how long the documentary is?
I don't think so. For some
Okay.
reason, 2 hours rings in my head, but I don't know why I think that.
Okay. You have a timestamp of the actual like last episode. How long is the actual last episode?
Of Stranger Things?
Yeah.
2 hours and 8 minutes.
Okay.
Which what's odd, and I haven't added this all up, so don't quote me on this, but fans have added the times up of every episode of season 5, and it's supposed to equal exactly 10 hours, which in the very first season of Stranger Things, the D&D game the boys are playing, when they complained to Mike that the game wasn't as fulfilling,
Yes.
which is what fans are doing,
Yeah.
themselves. everybody is getting after Mike, and Mike yells back to them, "It was 10 hours of a campaign." And so season 5 is now apparently it's exactly 10 hours, which somebody can do the math on that and debunk it if they want to. Yeah. I think this is it. I think we've covered just about everything. Love everyone in the chat. This is fun. If there is a new episode tomorrow, watch it and we will be right back here, or at least I for sure will be, to kind of talk about what the hell we just all experienced as a collective. Um it's fascinating. As I mentioned, I feel like there's Shelly's right on the money. Mike does ask Joyce for 20 more minutes. That is a thing. Are we gonna
When?
get a 20-minute episode in the very first season? She calls them up, or she tells them to end the game, and Mike says, "Mom, 20 more minutes." This is the same D&D
Okay.
campaign where Will rolls a 7 that fails to destroy the Demogorgon, and this is right before he gets abducted.
Not Joyce. You're talking about um
Oh yeah, not Joyce. Karen?
Karen, yeah.
Yeah, Karen.
Karen Wheeler, yeah.
Karen Wheeler. All right. This has been fun. This has been a great episode. I am stoked. Thank you, everybody, for joining us in the chat. It's been a blast. I've loved this show since the very first episode. I'm sure a lot of you guys out there feel the exact same way. It's been nearly 10 years of our lives that we will never forget, right? It's been absolute blast. If you are new to the Countdown City Geeks, we do this stuff. We talk about TV, movies, and also some major events. If you're in the San Antonio or South Texas area, it doesn't get any bigger than this. SpaceCon
Yeah.
San Antonio happens June 12th through the 14th, and this is your opportunity to take a photo, a dual op photo with the one and only Ian McDermott and the chosen one himself, Hayden Christensen. This might never happen again, and I can say that with almost 100% certainty
Yeah.
that these two may never take a dual photo op again. So this might be your one final last opportunity to take
There
a
is a
photo
chance. Yeah,
with
I,
these
I, I
two
was
legends.
yeah, no, I agree with that. It could happen at Star Celebration, but anything can happen. Like from this time point and going forward. So yeah, I was gonna say seeing Hayden at SpaceCon one, it was like 2 years ago now, was awesome. So it's gonna be awesome to have those two actually together, and that panel is just gonna be absolutely insane. So yeah.
Yeah, it'll be great. You don't want to miss it. SpaceCon is one of the absolute best organized conventions in the country, and it has some of the best A-listers and star power you'll find at just about any convention of its size. They've already announced Alan Ritchson, the star of Reacher, who's also going to be in attendance.
Yeah, I'm excited for that.
Yeah, there's gonna be a lot more Reacher stars announced, and there's also a major Star Wars actor who's not been to a San Antonio or Texas convention in the past, who is
Max Rebo.
apparently also from the prequels, and who's
Oh,
close to finalizing his contract to also attend SpaceCon this June. If you want more information, go to spaceconsa.com. You can also find them on social media at SpaceCon. But also there's a website, spaceconsa.com. Also, check out the countdowncitygeeks.com website. We got a lot of new interviews that have just dropped. We also dropped an interview with our guy Ray, who interviewed two of the stars from the Supergirl TV show. That just dropped today. You could find that on our YouTube channel as well as our social media. And thanks for watching, everybody. It's been an absolute blast. Stranger Things is one of the greatest shows ever. There's no doubt about it. This solidifies it. The fact that we're still talking about it this much after the
two
finale is
hours, by the
just
way.
mind-boggling. 2 hours. We just hit the 2 hour mark. What a coincidence. Just kidding. Let's wait until 2 hours, 8 minutes, just like the finale did, and then that'll really like send people flooring. Yeah, fantastic. Colin, you're doing a lot these days. Tell folks at home what you're doing, please.
Oh man, I am. We are doing the Life at Lightspeed podcast. every week, Friday, live. We talk about all the news that's happening in the Star Wars universe, facts, everything. And speaking of facts, I have started a crusade, an adventure, if you will, of for 143 days, starting from January 1st all the way to the world premiere of The Mandalorian Grogu. I'm posting one fact a day about the Mandoverse. So from the Mandalorian, Ahsoka, Book of Boba, Skeleton Crew, all of it, like of just lore facts, behind the scenes facts. I'm posting that on our Instagram, which is Live at Lightspeed Pod, and on TikTok as well. And it's just been a blast. We also have a bunch of conventions coming up. Um, and yeah. So, and then we are sponsored by the Virtual Cantina Network, an amazing group. There's so many great things that are happening with them as well. So many events next year. Go to the Virtual Cantina Network .com. There is all of the list of the events happening, and also Rebel ScumCon. There will be a Boon to Eve there. All the details on the website. Go and check that out. 2026 this year is going to be absolutely insane for events. So go and check it out. Yeah.
Gonna be absolutely insane, for sure. Go check out Colin at the Life at Lightspeed Pod. You can find them on Instagram as well as TikTok. And for all your Mandalorian and Grogu information and news, be sure to go check them out. That'll do it for us. Once again, my name is Ted, aka Steady. Joining me on this Stranger Things rabbit hole of just chaos is the one and only Colin.
Oh man, I'm gonna be tired tomorrow, but hey, I'll be rested up for the for the new episode. Yeah, but yeah, oh, thanks for having me on. Can't wait. Talk to you soon.
Absolutely. Eddie lives.